Mr. Lim Biow Chuan.
Sir, allow me to declare my interest in speaking on this topic as the President of the Consumers Association of Singapore. In 2018, CASE received 1,917 complaints against businesses in the beauty and slimming industry. This makes it the industry with the highest number of complaints. Of this, 1,829 are relating to beauty industry and 88 are in relation to slimming industry. And this is despite CASE signing 8 voluntary compliance agreements with these beauty and slimming related businesses, asking them not to breach the Consumer Protection Fair Trading Act. For many of these complaints, they relate largely to businesses taking advantage of a consumer by exerting undue pressure or undue influence on the consumer to ask them to sign a contract, or businesses taking advantage of a consumer when the supplier or the business knows or ought reasonably to know that this consumer is not in a position to protect his own interests. So the consumer is usually placed in a vulnerable position in an enclosed space because they are undergoing treatment at the business outlet. So imagine you get a coupon telling you that you can go for free treatment or treatment at a very low price. And then once you go for the treatment, midway through the treatment, the person providing the treatment puts undue pressure, tremendous pressure on you for the next 1 to 2 hours, asking you to sign up for a treatment package or to sign a credit card for such a package. So if you put yourself in a position, the consumer is really a captive audience where he or she is constantly being persuaded, you need further treatment, this treatment is good for you, signing a package would be of better value for you. Now, all these methods, sir, are technically breaches of the Consumer Protection Fair Trading Act. However, from the case experience, when we take out applications for injunction, the court will require a high threshold to be met before the court will grant any injunction for breach of the Consumer Protection Fair Trading Act due to such unfair practices. And for a consumer who had been pressured to pay for a package, the last thing he or she would wish to do is to commence legal action or go to court to recover such payment. Hence, in our view, it may be easier to avoid the need for unnecessary court litigation by imposing a mandatory cooling-off period on such industries. This would provide a consumer who had been subject to an unfair sales pressure with the right to cancel a contract within a certain period of time. The consumer can then obtain a refund of monies paid within this specified period without this consumer needing to prove an unfair practice. Now, this will send a right signal to genuine businesses that they should not use unfair business practices to persuade their customers to sign up for a package. So I urge the Ministry to consider implementing a mandatory cooling-off period for contracts entered into with businesses in the beauty and slimming industries. I was told by the Hong Kong Consumer Council that they too are looking into legislating for cooling-off period for beauty and fitness services industry. Another area for concern for CASE is the increasing number of consumers who are purchasing from entities incorporated overseas or from entities that may not be regulated under a consumer-related legislation in Singapore. An example would be consumers who bought their holidays from Agoda.com, Booking.com, Priceline.com and SG.hotels.com. Now, all these entities are either not licensed under the Travel Agent Act, and some are not even incorporated in Singapore. Hence, they may not be regulated under existing legislation. CASE urges the Monetary Authority of Singapore to work with the Association of Banks in Singapore and credit card issuing banks to raise awareness of chargeback schemes with their credit card banks. And this is because such a mechanism will allow consumers to readily lodge a chargeback in instances of business closure. So in Hong Kong, card issuing banks are required to comply with Code of Banking Practice, which provides that credit card issuing banks must provide for reasonable channels for consumers to submit claims and to make such pertinent information available to consumers. In addition, the Hong Kong Monetary Authority had further required all card issuing banks to upload onto their official website information about the chargeback dispute resolution process as well as the chargeback dispute resolution form. So this will basically mean that consumers who have paid for their purchases using their credit card will be able to cancel the contract, go back to the credit card companies and seek a refund. So I urge MAS to consider doing likewise, as this will allow consumers to reduce their losses if a business were to cease operation after collecting their deposits.